Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and today's gonna be the final day that we're gonna be discussing Ready to Love Season 4. Is it Season 4 or Season 5? I'm more confused. And we're gonna talk about what went on in the reunion and what went on outside of the reunion, the accusations that have been placed on Mr. Celibate, Mr. Abstinence Cornelius. And we're gonna talk about his accuser. We're gonna talk about the live that Courtney did with her, as well as Simone. Simone joined in. We're gonna talk about Camille's live that she did on her own, along with the live she did with Denise, as she addressed the accusations and so on and so forth. So let's just get right into things, you guys. So we start off with the reunion. Based on the review or the live that I saw from Courtney and her good friend, I don't know if her name is Ashley or Alexis or Alex, and then Simone popped in, I said that Celibate Cornelius is a fraud. Went out with woman a week after reunion or 2 weeks after reunion was taped, proving that the facade on screen was fake. Of course, Kamil has said that that is not true, and she did see the text messages and she saw Cornelius tell the girl to stop calling her and stop calling him and to leave him alone. But at the end of the day, I mean, Cornelius can still be lying about the situation, because are you trying to say that this woman is completely delusional and there was no romantic connection, and she did not say that Kamil was just a part of the show? Cornelius didn't say these things. Like, if my thing about it is, people have to really be careful, because during the dating phase, how much do you know about that individual to fight for them so hard? Like, you were not there when Cornelius was with that alleged woman, so you don't know what actually happened there. You only see selected messages, you only see selected pictures, so that doesn't necessarily mean that, he wasn't lying or he wasn't being 100% honest with you. You cannot possibly be able to gauge that unless you were in the actual room with the individual. That is something that you cannot be confident in saying, that's a lie, she's delusional. Anyways, we're just gonna get into the rest of the reunion. So according to Zadia, her and Naeem have formed a connection. They're supposed to be together. I said I doubt it. I just don't buy it. I just feel like the whole brown girl coalition seemed to just be a cover-up for an alliance for Kamil, Cornelius, Zadia, and Naeem to make it to the end. And so far, what we've seen from both of them is the men are backing up the women no matter what. Naeem doesn't care if Zadia committed a whole crime. He's gonna be right there beside her, having her back. Cornelius doesn't care what Kamil does. He's right there behind her, having her back. So I'm convinced that they definitely did have somewhat of a pact to make it to the end. I said I don't think any of it is genuine. It's more so an F you to the naysayers. Kind of like, you guys think like you guys don't like us. Look at what we're gonna show you. We're gonna show you that we got together and we're happy and we're just flourishing. But I don't necessarily know if it's genuine. Weeks before the reunion actually showed, Cornelius and Kamil were very eager to show that they were in fact in a relationship via pictures, and it made people question him, because it's like, if you're gonna say you're celibate, why are you taking such risky pictures? Now, people are not dense. Taking risky pictures doesn't necessarily mean you're not celibate or you're not abstinent, but still, it's insinuating sex. So if you want to put out a narrative that that's not what you're doing, then why put out this image? It's contradictory. You know what I mean? I'm not saying people cannot do naked pictures and have intimate pictures, but if your whole narrative is you're celibate or you're abstinent, I should say, and waiting for sex, or waiting for marriage, then why bring forth that image knowing people are gonna call you out? It just is very counterproductive to me. And it just seemed forced, and it seemed like it was done to just shut us up and say, just be quiet, because despite what you say, we're together and we're happy and we're this. Why not prove it to yourself instead of trying to prove it to other people? Because people are gonna think what they're gonna think regardless. The same thing for Zadia and Naeem. Do I buy their relationship? I do not. Do I think Zadia is interested in Naeem? I don't. Now, Walter. Walter has done several interviews prior to this reunion taping, and he said that he was caught off guard by Sabrina cutting it off. He expected a conversation before that day. In Little Black's book interview, Sabrina mentioned that she just didn't want to offer him the grace of informing him before she actually taped the thing, because he didn't offer her the same grace when it had to do with the Shallow situation. And she asked him, do you know anything about the Shallow thing? And he told her no. So she said she wasn't offered a convo. He didn't message her to like try and figure out where are you, Sabrina? Are you still with me? Have you changed your mind? And for me, that just proves the point that I've been making about Walter, which is that he saw Sabrina as his ride or die. He saw Sabrina as the person that was always his ace. Like that was the person that was gonna be there despite whatever he did. But he was mistaken, because she was feeling things. She was feeling neglected. She was feeling like she wasn't his number one, and she was feeling kind of like she was being left out to come back to in the end when everything is settled down and when he's done all these running around, and she just wasn't gonna be the one that stayed. But that's what he thought. I really do feel like if Walter really wanted something with Sabrina, he would have pursued it and not just felt like, okay, we chose each other, let's wait until the ending. I mean, actually pursue the thing. Like, you want to be with her, you like her, you chose her, show her that. Let her know that. Don't have her in the background waiting on you and expect her to choose you because you guys had this one talk that you would choose each other. It made no sense to me. Momen felt like she was the number two, because a lot of people were saying, no, Momen is the number one and Sabrina was the number two. Momen is saying she never felt like the number one either, and she actually was surprised when Sabrina said she didn't feel like the number one, because Momen felt like every time Walter was around Sabrina, his attitude towards Momen changed. So she was very much shocked at that too. To be honest with you, it just seemed as if somebody said it in the comments. They said Walter was Walter's number one. It wasn't Sabrina, it wasn't Momen. And that just accurately sums that up. Okay. He says he doesn't regret choosing Sabrina. Sabrina mentions Walter wants a younger woman, and he decides to clarify that and says that he wants kids, and the success rate of a younger woman having kids versus an older woman having kids is more. So that's why his preference is more so with younger women, but it's not limited to younger women, is what he was essentially trying to say. Now, Courtney, an abstinent Cornelius. The streets are saying he was never really as shrewd as he was displayed. Courtney proved that, and her friend Alex did too. Whole time on the reunion, he was Mr. Abstinence, when allegedly he and Kamil had already knocked boots. Now, all this is alleged, you guys. I don't know. This is according to Alex's account of things. Now, Corey breaks down in tears, trying to explain his dating style. Now, he breaks down in the clip, and I never remember seeing that part on the show. So I was like, what's going on here? Like, this guy just breaking down, crying. Not one tear is coming from his eye. And I'm not convinced. And Momen wasn't convinced either. Momen was like asking if his tears were real. I found that moment to be hilarious. Now, give him the floor to explain. He breaks down again, explaining that he wants the same approval that his mom gets from his dad. Sabrina validates that he is just misunderstood. Courtney and Mumen are not convinced. Courtney felt like he was playing a game, and Mumen felt like he was deflecting too much. He apologizes and mentions that being his biggest mistakes. Now, Tissia comes into the fold, talking about how she was part of the third party with Courtney and Mumen. She was the actually fourth party or fifth party, and that is something that was not spoken about, and she just wanted to let that be known. And then there was this back and forth of Tissia, well, Corey saying Tissia is actually the bomb, she's the best, and he doesn't understand why the other men don't get it, they don't, and whatever the case may be. Tissia let it be known that she's not the one to be double backed on. If you didn't see her the first time, you better act blind the second time, because she's not gonna be taking you on at all. Like, what I do admire about Tissia is, like, she allows people to do what they want to do according to what she said, and based on what they choose to do, you have all the answers that you ever wanted to get. Instead of begging people for an answer of where do you stand or where do you see us, just observe them. And if they come to you, then it's you. If they don't come to you and they choose to go to other people, it's other people. Perhaps Shallow should have taken a page from Tissia's book in that regard, instead of, like, going crazy when she did. But anyway, Tissia decides to take a swirl on the stage. And yeah, that was Tissia's segment. Now, when she did that, I was more inclined to believe what other people were saying, which is that she just wanted a moment, and that is why she got up the last time. Because clearly, she was very much doing the most when she got up and strutted, which led me to believe that maybe she was just sick and tired of not having her opportunity, and tired of just sitting down and watching other people go back and forth. Zadia, Naima's definitely the consolation prize, and he was, like, next to her looking like a big burgundy dummy, literally. They're trying to sell their bogus love story. I just don't buy it. She mentioned apologizing to Dante, but what about Aisha? Aisha mentioned that she didn't ever receive an apology from Zadia, and the way Sabrina explained it, because Sabrina went off on Zadia with Little Black Book's interview, and she mentioned the fact that Zadia likes to do things to people, and she alleged that Zadia kicked Carrie at a party that Libba put together, and she ignored the fact that she did it to her, did not acknowledge Carrie or anything like that, but later apologized. And she mentioned that what Zadia does is she does bad things to you, and in that moment she does not apologize, but she would call you later to apologize, to cover her ass and say that she apologized. Because normally when someone comes at you and you say, but I apologize, it almost is supposed to dead the conversation. Maybe that's what she was trying to do, or maybe she genuinely felt like she apologized. But apologizing doesn't right your wrong. Like, I need people to understand this. You saying you apologize because you did something to someone doesn't make the situation better. It doesn't right the wrong that you did and the hurt that you caused. So even if you apologize, it doesn't mean somebody's supposed to ignore all the pain and the hurt they went through because you simply apologized. The hurt was still there, the pain was still caused, tears still fell, and you did what you did. So apologies are not band-aids, and I need Zadia and everybody else to just acknowledge that. And I don't know if it was editing that didn't show her apologize to Aisha, but she mentioned she did apologize to Aisha, but we just didn't get to see that at all. I literally think that's all. Corey was crying, talking about how he just wants women to accept him, and he's doing this for women's approval, and he's just trying to be the same way his mom is with his dad. And I don't understand why he's breaking down, because I remember when he was eliminated, he kind of doubled down on his dating style, and he was on all fours backing it up. And then watching this reunion, it's like he's crying about how he goes about things. So I'm like very confused as to like what's happening here right now. But anyway, I think I touched on everything to do with the reunion show. Is there anything I missed? The Dante and Aisha love story. So we get to see how Dante and Aisha's connection began, how it progressed towards the ending of the show. And we know that production is the one that picks who goes on which date with whom based on the recommendation you give to them, or maybe it's something that they see that you don't. So I don't think they ever really put Dante and Aisha together, but they decided to communicate off camera, and that is when they realized there was potentially something there, and they pursued that, and then they're still together till today. So that just proves that, there are a lot of unlikely connections sometimes, and you may not see it during the show, but you may see it maybe outside of that, or just various situations might cause you to just take a second look at somebody you wouldn't otherwise look at. And of course, their connection is working thus far because you're still together. Had he chosen Zadia, who knows if they'd still be together now. For some reason, I just highly doubt it, because we all see that Zadia's personality is very, 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 very fiery. And we did hear about another altercation that took place with Dante and Zadia outside of the show, when she confronted him again. So I don't know if that relationship would have ever blossomed. So everything happened how it was supposed to happen. I'm happy that it happened that way, because Zadia found her person in Naeem, however that looks, and Dante found his person in Aisha. People were also speaking about the whole time they were having the segment with Dante and Aisha. The camera was panning over to see Kamil's reaction, and Kamil's face looked like she was so over it. She looked like she was bitter. She looked like she was just annoyed, and people read that as she couldn't stand Aisha and Dante being happy. But according to her on the live, she said that actually it was just her being there from morning until really late, and just being over it and being completely just ready to go home. She made it seem like it had nothing to do with Aisha, and she also made it known that she was yelled at, I don't know by whom. So they were just over the backlash because they were really getting chew up on this reunion. So she's saying that that was the reason. So Alex, who is Courtney's friend, did a live, and she basically was trying to debunk the whole Cornelius thing. And she said she and Cornelius met, and they were talking about potentially getting access to red carpet events and other events for his acting career and modeling career and so on. And so it led to her saying that they were kind of dating each other. And he was basically saying that Kamil was just part of a production thing, and she's fake, and it's just part of production, it's just part of the show, and it's not real. And she's trying to say that he was trying to get away from Kamil, and he just didn't know how to get away from her without publicly looking like an a-hole. And she said a whole bunch of stuff. Kamil, of course, has addressed that and said it's a lie. So, and then the tea is stale. So I don't know what that is about. I can't wait to hear what he says about it. I really think what it should be is that Alex and Kamil and Cornelia should all be in one room, as they go back and forth. That's the only way we would be able to gauge who is lying and who's telling the truth. Other than that, it's very difficult to tell. So anyways, you guys, that's it. Let me know what you guys think about the final reunion. Do you think that it was giving? Do you think it was not giving? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and see you next time for other reviews from the Ranting Shop with me, Melissa. Bye bye.